Hello friends and shalom dear friends. Welcome to my channel. This is Finding Shalom and I am Christa. Today is Thursday, January 5th, and I'm popping on here really quick. I'm about to record the video for tomorrow, Friday. We're going through the Gospels in chronological order, and so I'll be doing that, and I'll film that sometime today in between the chaos of my day, and then I'll have it posted tomorrow. If you have been watching some of my other videos, you know that the day after Christmas, things changed in our little world, and it's been 2 weeks. That's a little exhausting. Yesterday was probably the most exhausting out of all of those days. So stay tuned at the end of the video, but I didn't want to make that video about the update on my father-in-law. I'll fill you in on that here shortly. Today I was just going to pop in and say it's January 5th, and I am so late at getting into my word of the year and actually writing in my journal. I usually even sometimes start the process a month or two before the new year. The last couple years, I barely just made the new year deadline to find my word and then dove in, but at least usually January 1st, since it's usually a day off, I have spent a little time studying my word and getting written in my journal and starting the process. But I didn't get to even touch it until yesterday, Wednesday, and I barely touched it. But that's okay, because we have a whole year. So if you haven't jumped into studying your word of the year, don't worry, we have a whole year. We have a whole year to worry about it. But I wanted to show you what I do to kind of start it out. And I don't have a right or wrong way to do this. Just if you want to use some of my ideas of what I've done through the past, you can make up your own. I usually go out and get myself a wonderful little journal, and in another video I will post that probably next week of how I go about that. I'm jumping ahead and saying I already got the journal, and let's show you what I do with it. So I always do a cover page, and I don't know about you guys, but is writing in the first page of a new journal the hardest the hardest page to write on? That first page is horrible. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess it up. So sometimes in the past I've actually skipped ahead and started journaling and writing later, and then I go back and kind of do a nice cover. So sometimes it's months later that I actually do my cover. But for sake of time, because I'm so far behind this year, I just yesterday had a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes, that I had a few moments to sit and do a little research. And what I do is I always write the year and then my word. And right now I have been on my word Shalom. I think it's like 6 or 7 years. And that's the first time I've ever kept a word longer than 1 year. And now I'm doing these subwords that kind of are paths to Shalom. And Shalom is peace, wholeness, tranquility. It has a ton of meanings. So it's a huge word, and that's why it stuck with me so long. And so this year, one of those paths to peace that I wanted to do was my word worship. If you have a word of the year, I want to hear it down in the comments. What is your word of the year this year? And why did you choose that word? Like, did you come across a Bible verse? Did you hear something in a sermon or a song? Is it something that you're aspiring to do? Why did you choose your word of the year? So mine is worship. And so the first thing I do is I look it up in the dictionary. Now it might be that you already know what the definition of your word is. Usually it's an easy word that you're like, I know that definition. Look it up anyway, because in those definitions, there's multiple different ways they'll phrase it and they'll use different words, you kind of can dig a little deeper. And so in my word worship, I found out that it's a noun, the feeling or expression of reverence and adoration for a deity. And so I underlined reverence and adoration, which I may end up going down those roads and studying those words a little bit. You can use it as a verb to show reverence or adoration. And then I also, after I've looked up the regular definition, then I also will type into Google biblical definition. And so I got homage or grateful submission to God, to regard with great or extravagant respect, honor, and devotion. And all of those are words that you can actually go down some bunny trails on. Then what I did, and even if you have a simple word, try, especially if it came in a verse, if it's in the Old Testament, most likely it was written originally in Greek or in Hebrew. Sorry, I got that mixed up. So look up the Hebrew word that they're going to use to translate to that word. If your verse is in the New Testament, most likely, there's a few differences, but most likely it was written in Greek. So look up the Greek word and then see if there's a Hebrew word for it as well. So that was a fun search yesterday, and it actually, I'll tell you at the end of this video. Wait, here comes my hubby. So I'm back, but it's not Thursday, it's Friday night, and I just finished filming, editing, and putting up our Friday Bible study on the channel. And I've got this half filmed video of my word of the year and touching base, stuff like that. And I thought, do I just forget about it? You know how many videos I have shot where, yep, that's kind of how it is. Duchess, no. Duchess, let me put you outside. Okay, I'm back. So what was I saying? Talking about how hard it is to film videos, and how many videos I probably have sitting on my phone or in my camera that just never get posted because I can never get through them. Pray for me. But it's not just the dog, the cats. It's been a really long couple weeks, and to give you the update that I said I was going to give you, my father-in-law broke his hip the day after Christmas, and was supposed to be in the hospital about 3 days after his surgery on his hip, and then was going to go into rehab, possibly a couple weeks. And then he had some complications between his meds and dementia, and was hallucinating. It held it off. And then he ended up in the hospital a lot longer. We were waiting, wondering. And then once, a couple days ago, we were able to get him into a rehab center. We were so excited to finally get to the next step, and then find out that the insurance will only pay for 2 days, which isn't going to even allow him to be able to walk. And so how is Jay's mom gonna take care of him? Anyway, pray for our little family. A lot of hard stuff. I also had my aunt pass away on New Year's Eve that day, and it's my dad's sister. And so dealing with some of the grieving, and I wanted to comfort my dad, but my week was so full of just hospital visits and stuff. And then we're planning to probably go down for the funeral, and then my sister booked a flight, and that changed. Anyway, a lot going on at the beginning of the year, and But God is good and God is faithful, and He's got us. And after my word last year of trust, I'm learning to trust Him. And as far as the Bible study yesterday, talking about the disciples and the feeding of the 5,000, and then right away when they did the feeding of the 4,000, they still didn't believe. They went into crisis mode. Don't we always do that? You know, God has done miraculous things in our life, and then when the next crisis comes, we flounder and wonder how God is going to deliver us. So that's where we're at, guys. And I think in the beginning of this video, I was sharing with you my word of the year and how you might be able to look your word up in the dictionary and look it up in the Greek and look it up in the Hebrew and just kind of delve in and slowly delve in. One thing after the video that I shot yesterday morning, that I came across some videos while I was waiting to pick people up and stuff like that. I was watching a couple videos on my word worship, which the Hebrew word is actually shakah, I think it is. And that is the spelling of it right there. And I'm learning that worship, the word worship, is not what we were thinking it is. The Hebrew, what is meant with the Hebrew word is to bow down, to humble yourself, to basically fall prostrate, to like be on your knees, on your hands and face before a great and mighty God, that you worship. It has nothing to do with what we think in the Western modern world of how we feel. I want to feel like I'm in worship. I got to have the right music. It's about the music and the praise and the right band, whether it's, you know, modern or rock or the old hymns. Everybody argues about that. And what I'm learning in these videos I'm watching and stuff is that true worship that was meant before it was translated is just laying prostrate and completely humbling yourself, lowering yourself to be so humble that you're before God and that you worship His presence and His deity. And it has also a little bit to do with praise, but that's another thing, you know, about lifting God up in praise. We don't need to lift God up in praise. He's already high. He's already high and lifted up. We need to realize who we are in the presence of God. We are nothing in the presence of God. He is enough. He is mighty. And I feel like maybe the first week of this year, as I've been trying to study this, is sometimes, how do I say it? Sometimes when you start a word of the year, it's actually the hardest part of the study. I wonder if God tests us, or He has to burn something off of us before He can teach us the real gem of the word. So, as for instance, my word shalom, the year I picked shalom, I wanted a year of peace, rest. It was the year before, my word was rebuild. And that's a lot of work. And I just wanted something relaxing. And when we entered that year, oh my gosh, at the shop, we had like snowmageddon. We had, there was so much snow, we had to dig out. I couldn't even get brides to my store because of all the snow. We had to chip through the ice, and it was piled up so high that they actually had to truck it out of our town. We had so much snow. I had this massive roof leak in our shop that of course poured right into the bridal suite and onto my gowns and it caused the sales of my wedding gowns at it was the critical bridal season. I lost a lot of sales. So I began my word, Shalom, with the least peaceful year I have ever had. And whatever your word is, I feel like God's going to challenge that. He's going to give you some trials to burn off, so a little fire to burn off the the chaff, or burn off the rough stuff. And so my word worship, it seems like it, last year I went in like, oh, trust. That's a scary word. I'm going to go in with trust. And I was ready for whatever scary thing could happen. With worship, it's like, my word's worship. Woo, it's going to be a great year. No, it starts out like, are you really at a place where you want to humble yourself? Are you ready to really kneel down to me? Are you ready to become a servant? Are you ready to just lower yourself? You need to get rid of some pride. You need to get rid of thinking that you deserve this or deserve that. So he's burning that off of me. And these last couple weeks, I'm exhausted. I feel like I can't get anything done. I've been frustrated, depressed. And I think, is this how my year's supposed to be? Is this how worship is supposed to be? But God's going, hey, let's really delve into the Hebrew version of worship. Worship is, you see God, he appears, and you drop. I really started, I was watching some of these videos, thinking about all the testimonial videos that I've seen of people who entered the presence of God. Maybe they had a near-death experience, or maybe they felt like God visited them and came to them. And all of them talk about this experience where they couldn't even see God because they were flat on the ground. It's like their body just went flat and they saw his feet, or they were just in a bowed position. There is, I think it's the Caldwells, they kind of discovered what I really think that they are right is the true Mount Sinai. And when they finally, after months and months and months of trying to get through to this part of the desert, this property, they actually came across, she said, when they got to the mountain that was Mount Sinai, both of them, she said she looked over and her husband had dropped and she had dropped. She goes, I don't know what it was, but there was this powerful on me. I have to worship. I have to drop. I have to fall before the face of God. And that's humility. And when we see God, we are going to be dropping to our knees. And so this year I'm learning to drop to my knees on a regular basis, and I'm learning to humble myself. I want to know what your word of the year is, and have you had an easy time of it? Have you kind of struggled in the first week of 2023? Are you starting to think, I wish I picked a different word? Tell me your experience. If you are struggling through that first initial study of the word, or maybe if you start to struggle here in a little bit, I just want you to know that work through it, because my word trust was really rocky at the beginning and I was scared to death. And by the end of the year, I just felt like I now know what it means to trust God and to be fully at peace, knowing that he is sovereign and he knows the plans he has for me. He knows what my future is, and he has my best interest in mind. So I just want to encourage you, not only do some research on your word, go look up your word in some different Bible verses, pick a Bible verse that's your favorite, that really inspires you with that word in it. And then don't be afraid to dig in and feel a little pain, because I think we have to peel away the yuck before he can do a true work in us. So anyway, I think I finished off that video. I don't know how long this video is. I do have some funny cat stuff where I tried to start this video. I'll put that at the end. But anyway, love you guys very much. this is Friday night, probably post it tomorrow, Saturday. Let my Bible study video go for a little bit before I post this. And hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week ahead. I hope your year is off to a good start. Shalom, my dear friends. Love you. Mwah. She's attacking. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things. Are you done? Can I film? Will you allow me to film now? Gracie, can I film? Do you mind if I film? Okay.